The Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus has led to a massive surge in cases, ripping through communities with low rates of vaccination. This week, just 3 states, Florida, Texas, and Missouri, accounted for 40% of all cases nationwide. Here's what the governor of one of those states had to say about the vaccine.
If you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, the chance of you getting seriously ill or dying from COVID is effectively 0. If you look at the people that are being admitted to hospitals, over 95% of them are either not fully vaccinated or not vaccinated at all. And so these vaccines are saving lives. They are reducing mortality.
I'm suffering from rhetorical whiplash. That was indeed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, the same Ron DeSantis who sells merchandise mocking the pandemic and Dr. Fauci on his website, and who said today he will fight mask mandates in schools. Mixed messages about the vaccine are also coming from Fox News, the cable news epicenter for anti-vax hysteria, which may explain, or it'll explain why the Lincoln Project went after them in its latest ad.
The Americans who are dying from COVID are almost all not vaccinated. Rupert Murdoch was vaccinated. Does anyone really think Tucker Carlson isn't vaccinated? But Murdoch's Fox News continues to put Americans at risk by pushing anti-vax hysteria. It's dangerous, immoral. Fox News is helping kill Americans.
Joining me now is Dean Obeidallah, columnist for MSNBC and the Daily Beast and host of the Dean Obeidallah Show on SiriusXM, and Dr. Bernard Ashby, a Miami cardiologist. Thank you both very much for coming to the Readout. Dr. Ashby, I want to start with you. Because on the one hand, we've got the disinformation and misinformation. NBC is reporting that there are Facebook dance parties. Anti-vaccine groups changing into dance parties on Facebook to avoid detection. And the ban evasion efforts on Facebook and Instagram are ratcheting up as the White House has increased pressure on social media platforms to do more to contain misinformation. And then on top of that, the White House is debating whether to reinstate a mask mandate. This is from yesterday. White House officials debate masking push as COVID infections spike. Top White House aides and Biden administration officials are debating whether they should urge vaccinated Americans to wear masks in more settings as the Delta variant causes spikes, according to 6 people familiar with the discussions. Dr. Ashby, as a doctor, please, how is the disinformation playing where you are and among your patients?
Well, good evening. Pleasure to be here. And I don't even know where to get started. I mean, as we all know, vaccine hesitancy is a real issue. And as you can see, our politicians are doing what they do. They're playing politics. While we physicians are literally on the front lines doing what we've been doing for the past 1.5 years plus, trying to save our patients' lives. And at this point, a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses, a lot of respiratory therapists, et cetera, they're suffering from burnout. This feels like PTSD because you saw DeSantis there. I mean, his strategy for dealing with the virus is getting vaccinated. Of course, we understand that. I wish he would have talked about vaccinations back, when they first came out, because months ago. Yeah, because he got his vaccination and didn't tell anybody. Okay, didn't advertise it at all when it was politically expedient to him. Now, when it's politically expedient to him, he's advertising it. Stop sending the mixed messages, because if you're talking about Fauci and fascism and all this crap, that's only feeding into the misinformation, the disinformation, and the mixed communication that people are receiving. And we have to speak as one. And so at this point, all I care about is less people dying. What we're seeing is in Florida at this point in the pandemic is just unacceptable.
And, you know, Dean, one of the purveyors of misinformation and disinformation is Fox News. That Lincoln Project ad is pretty devastating in sort of calling out the hypocrisy. But you're doing more than that, Dean. You wrote for MSNBC yesterday, Fox News COVID vaccine denials can't go unpunished. I filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission on Tuesday. Here's hoping it moves forward. Talk about why did you file that complaint with the FTC? What's your goal?
Because I'm tired of screaming at my television set, Jonathan, or screaming on my radio show about something needs to be done. So I'm a lawyer. I did research over the weekend. I saw the COVID-19 Consumer Protection Act, which was passed in December, under the auspice of the FTC. It seemed like the perfect fit. This new law is to protect people, the public, consumers, from people peddling misinformation for profit about COVID, about the cures, about mitigation practices. And that's what Fox News has been doing. You know, Media Matters did a great job quantifying it. In about the last 2 weeks, nearly 57% of the segments Fox News did on COVID, which was over 120 plus, nearly 57% were to convince you not to get the vaccine through telling you they're coming to take your freedoms, to actually lying about the vaccine and being dangerous. And, you know, we can debate all day why Fox News does it. Is it to hurt Joe Biden? Is it somehow to make their base who watches the shows angry? But we can all agree on this, Jonathan. This is a big company. It made $1.5 billion last year in revenue. This is a business decision by the network. So I filed a complaint, and I hope others do. It'll take you 2 to 3 minutes on the FTC website to open an investigation by the FTC to see if they are deceptive practices. Should there be an injunction, and should there be damages?
Oh, and I was about to ask you, what would the punishment be? Let's say you're successful. Do you have any idea how Fox could be punished?
I would get Tucker Carlson's show. I'd be the new host on 8 o'clock on Fox News. Now, the reality is that they could get an injunction against them. There could be damages. I just hope that the FTC chair, Lina Khan, announces an investigation. I know countless people are filing complaints as well. Maybe that will call some responsibility at that network.
Dean Obeidallah, Dr. Bernard Ashby, thank you very much for coming to the Readout. Up next, voter suppression.